Hi, welcome. Thanks for cutting through the challenges. I'm starting 18 minutes late today because of technical difficulties. But can you imagine unlocking the greatness within you more than ever before? Can you imagine turning up the volume, the vibrance, and the resolution on your life? So buckle up, because we're going to delve into the most meaningful and potent aspects of life. So everyone else out there on the internet is going for shock and awe, that power-packed dopamine performance, but we're going to do something different. We're going for deep, actual personal growth and change. I'm doing this all solo, so you might have to wait a second for me to queue up each clip, but it's going to be awesome. Just bear with me. You're a goal-setting being. So you have hopes and dreams for a better world, for yourself, for your loved ones, and for the entire world. Maybe they're hidden, maybe they're stifled, maybe they've been pushed down, or maybe your mind hasn't been quite freed up enough to have the big, bold, personalized, or specific enough goals. You must have goals and visions for a future if you want that future to come into view. In fact, probably you're going to want a few clearly delineated goals at a time to be working on, and maybe even more, but we'll get to those as the course goes on. So we'll help you find, create, and focus on goals in this module. You're going to choose one daily goal, one lifelong goal, and you're going to make a whole list of goals for your life in general. And look at the places where your values and intentions might be falling short, the aspects of life that you might be not quite paying enough attention to. So what are you willing to do regularly, intentionally? So I'll tell you about me for just one quick minute. I'll show you this quick little slideshow while I tell you about how I grew up in a good family and had an awesome life, but I didn't like the mainstream way of doing things. So I left high school at 17, moved to the West Coast, started my first business at 19. Now I have 3 kids and a wife. I'm the marketing director and 5th generation entrepreneur at my family's business. I've had a fantastic, adventurous life full of twists and turns and more than my share of good and bad luck. I have an amazing community, amazing group of friends, and I have a really cool, interesting life, I like to think. And I'm doing this here now. And I'm here now putting this out here because this is the culmination, because this is what I've always wanted to do. And I'm not here to put this on the internet for money specifically. My life is good. I want to bring more life to this world. I want to bring more goodness to this world. This is my way of bringing my legacy and my way of being into the world. Well, into the world. So in my mid-30s, I felt like I wasn't making that much progress on my goals. Basically, I wasn't getting myself to be here right in front of you right now. But I took a beginner's mind and learned the fundamentals of progress and applied myself to my goals, with the mission to grow in a way where I didn't have to put joy or family or fun off until some day far in the future. I could do it all in some ways and build my life progressively to where it is now. So armed with many of the insights that I'll share with you today, and the rest revealed in this course if you choose to continue, I got married, went into business with my family, got into the rental business, moved to a new city, got serious about music, fitness, homeschooling my kids, started a men's group and became a coach and got a coach. I did more traveling. I built a school bus RV, and some interesting concepts visited me and helped change my life and my perspective. So these first ones I'm going to talk about, I call Self-Development 1.0, because they're like basic truths and understanding that I feel like have been left out of the conversation. First, teaching. Here we go. This is the Pareto Principle. Hopefully you've heard about it. Maybe you've seen my videos. I want to play you a primer again. Maybe it's again for you. Maybe it's the first time. And to get it right on the forefront of your mind before we go on. Then I discovered this shape and this principle, and it brought all these ideas together into a clear, undeniable truth that has kept bringing me insights for years. It's the same shape that Leonardo da Vinci studied, that Fibonacci immortalized, that Fortune 500 companies and leaders quietly use to rise to the top. It's an idea at the heart of modern economic theory. This shape is everywhere. It's in the proportion of our limbs, the way that plants grow to capture maximum sunlight, and the pattern of galaxies. It's the shape of success, growth, and abundance. Do you know what it is? Over a century ago, during the Industrial Revolution, a mathematician named Vilfredo Pareto stumbled upon a universal truth. He noticed a pattern in wealth. Around 20% of the population controlled about 80% of the land, resources, and education. Sound familiar? Well, Pareto didn't stop there. He observed a similar pattern in nature itself, a minority producing the majority, while the rest hovering in mediocrity. Diamonds are rare among rocks. Life is rare among planets, and excellence is rare among the average. This happens because conditions are rarely perfect everywhere. They're more ideal in certain places and less in others. And that's not even the number one reason why success happens. Like attracts like, energy follows opportunities, resources and attention are drawn to where they're already abundant, and 1,000 other truths that follow that thread. Coming back to your life, 20% of your actions are likely to create 80% of your successes. And here's the kicker. The more creative and the more impactful your endeavor, the steeper the split. The top 1% dominate the other 99% combined. Think about it. 20% of farmers produce 80% of the world's food. 20% of your clothes are worn 80% of the time. Yet your favorite musicians dominate the charts while the rest are forgotten. Excellence is not average, it's extreme. Your life works the same way. Only unique key moments stand out. Only when you go to your edge do you make big leaps. Nothing happens without some consistent, concerted effort. The 80-20 rule is powerful, but it's just a piece of the puzzle. When you align it with your value and pair it with the trajectory of deliberate growth, you unlock your potential. Through this work, I've had valuable insights about what makes life work and what makes it great. As endeavors become more creative, the split becomes much bigger. Think about Picasso, Michael Jordan, or Beyonce. They don't just stand out, they overshadow. Okay, not sure if that video started over again, but we're going to continue. Pareto discovered that things fall in this curious pattern. So maybe this is your first time seeing it, maybe not. But it should blow your mind that this crazy split happens. In fact, as I mentioned, Pareto is considered the father of economics, of modern economic theory. Because of this theory, life is concentrated. Things that matter and make a difference are rare. Learn to find them and create them and harness them. Pareto called these things the vital few. First of all, there are a small number of potent ideas and actions that work far better than the rest. Second, there are a small number of solutions or problems that account for about 80% of success or failure. So think about this, like health. A small number of habits like sleep, hydration, exercise, they account for the majority of your overall well-being. Or work. If you have just a few recurring issues, addressing those, like communication breakdowns or missed deadlines, can solve most of your workplace problems. Learning, mastering the basics, the foundational skills or concepts leads to the most success in any field. So there are a limited number of things that go along with anything. Think about it. If you're fixing a car, it's going to be the tires, the batteries, the gas, there are a couple major elements to anything. The way that machines break down, the way that people break down, the way that you build things up. Maybe a handful of ideas are going to account for 80% of the solutions. And the third part of the vital few is that very few people are willing to do what it takes to get there. I'm going to show you this Pareto chart here so you can get a visual of what I'm talking about. Now, Pareto proved that life has these wild splits, along with a curious division of 80-20, even though we tend to think that life averages out like 50-50, it balances out, but it doesn't. Think about it. 20% of the food you eat regularly probably makes up 80% of your diet. 20% of your habits, like drinking water or exercise, contributes to 80% of your physical well-being. You might talk about 20% of the same topics 80% of the time with close friends or family. And 20% of the stressors that you have cause about 80% of your anxiety. The list goes on and on. It's as long as the universe is. All of these concepts will become intuitive over time. You'll see. So the 80-20 split is everywhere, and you can tie yourself in knots finding this uneven split of reality. This concept is woven throughout my videos and my forthcoming book. But the point is that you can use it to harness the most effective things and reduce the things that don't matter in any area of life. Let's start with looking at the shape again. So this is what I call the map view of progress. In fact, I'm going to give you an even more specific chart on the map. So here you can see it divided into 80 and 20. Pretend you're learning a new skill. Have you heard of the learning curve? Well, this is it. The path is pretty similar for each skill, even though, yeah, there are some shortcuts. Some things are difficult to get started, others might be a little easier, but to continue with any new habit, to get yourself just off the ground, takes a lot of work. Your skills, your environments make a big difference. First, anything that is new is slow to mature. You may have some jumps, some leaps, and some setbacks, but it takes a while just to get on the map, just to get the consistency right to do something that really matters. So there are so many aspects of this, but I just want to talk about how getting a new skill, starting something new, has this way of it's tough to continue. The point is, being a beginner is here, or maybe here, and being a master is up here. The point is to get to mastery. And how does that happen? It follows a similar trajectory. And what I mean is that this, what I like to call the map view, is again, it takes a while to get up this ramp, to get yourself past the beginning stages of anything, to really get into the part where it gets easier, it gets more fun, it gets more rewarding. And it takes a while. The middle is a more painstaking journey. And it's not until you get most of the way through this curve that things really start to take off. When you get towards that 80%, it's where most of the gains happen with the least amount of work. See, the beginning is so painstaking. The middle is, well, it's drudgery. It's tough. And you don't see as much progress, and you can't envision it. So only with commitment to effective, consistent progress that changes with the environment do you get to that place where things become effortless, where rewards pour in faster and faster, easier and easier, and you attain a sort of mastery with your work that becomes more sublime instead of work. And blessings come up constantly. On the flip side, moving backwards is a real possibility. So, if you don't build and maintain income, health, friendships, or your freaking house, you risk losing them completely. You have to follow the curve of life and growth by planting your good ideas in reality and watering them, actually taking care of your ideas. So it requires moving forward consistently and maintaining the gains that you have until you move to a place of more effortless action. And there are systems and there are tips and tricks and shortcuts we'll get to on the way. But this is the first basic. This is the self-development 1.0. Now, when you started to learn how to walk, it was a miracle, right? It still is a miracle every time that you take a step confidently and with balance. You can reach out and grab something. You can fix something. You can make something. You can put something away for future use. Make conversation with strangers. These sound simple, but these are actually the skills that you have some level of competency at, maybe even mastery. But maybe you forget, or you don't really know how to turn those into something great. Remember that your life can be built and nurtured into a better world for you, for me, for the entire world. Now we're going to go on one other offshoot of the Pareto Principle, and this is Price's Law. I alluded to it in the video, and you'll see here that it's got a different sort of trajectory to it. There it is. So we like to think of things as 50-50, and Pareto proved that many things fall in the 80-20, but Price proved that things happen according to the square root. This is a dense concept, and I won't get too into it, but it's as I covered in the video, when you get to those creative ideas, those creative endeavors, the split is so gigantic. So how many musicians have there been in the last couple hundred years? Billions, right? Yet there are a couple of musicians who are played way beyond what any other musician in history has done. And the amount of work that they've put out is gigantic compared to the amount that the rest have put out. But even within that, you'll find the Pareto split, where only a small percentage of their work has actually made it to the public consciousness. Now, the point here is that as things get more creative, as we get into a more creative endeavors, the split gets bigger. The amount that you can gain in this world, the amount that you can gain beyond other people is gigantic. So what the square root means is that if you have 100 people, roughly 10 of those people will produce 50% of the work in that field. And as the number gets bigger, the number of factors and the vital few gets smaller. So that 80-20 goes and stretches to a huge, huge number. So in creative fields, a small number of authors, innovators, they create half the impactful work. This spooky phenomenon shows up very often. It sounds crazy, it sounds harsh, but it's true, and you should know about it. Big change happens by rare acts from rare people at rare times, and they make a humongous difference. Now, I'm going to continue on to the next idea here, which is the formula. The formula says that traction times energy to the power of consistency. So it says that good ideas that are executed well requires energy and regularity. Good ideas have to adapt to your circumstances with regularity in order to continue to be good ideas. If the circumstances change, well, you have to change your tact. Those are the basic ingredients to success in any area of life. Good ideas that matter to you, executed effectively and regularly while changing with the changing landscape. There's a lot to say about this, but we're going to move on from the formula. Now, the last point about the curve is that I call this the curve with two U's. And yes, it's kind of odd, but I did it for a few reasons. One, to make it easy to find me, and because everything in life happens in curves. Nature does not have straight lines. In the universe, outside of this flat screen or a piece of paper, the shortest distance between 2 points is a curve. Now, what can you change about your life that is the most powerful thing in the universe? When you change what you can do with your life, that is powerful. Curves don't matter unless you get it, unless you use it. The curve has proved to me that life is built. relationships, happiness, health, progress, they are built like businesses and bank accounts, except much more dynamic and much more rewarding. We're told in our society that that money is the only answer, that money is the only thing to strive for. And so many people's internal compass is only set to money. But money is just a reward and a result. And our goal is to make money yet less relevant to a great life. So we're looking to create a great life aside from money. Who cares about money? I'm going to lay out the points, the Pareto points right here, just to give you that overview. And these are the big physical realities that I wanted to touch on today. And now we're going to step out of the physical world and move on to the feelings, honoring desires, the law of attraction. It's not about faking it till you make it. It's like believing it so that you can achieve it. Feel it so that you can heal it. Become it until you've done it. There's a lot out there about the law of attraction, and I will spend some time in the course about it, but it is elusive and a curious phenomena. It really says that your thoughts and feelings create your reality, and it begins internally, then eventually changes the external world. There are lots of different theories about it, and I do think there is truth behind it, but you have to believe in yourself, obviously, and the reality that you want to create in order to step into the feeling of it. So it's a self-creation, world creation, emotional and energetic creation. It goes subtle. And now I'm moving up to these more subtle ideas. So I want to talk real quick about the Matthew effect. I've mentioned it in some videos. It's pulled from a popular biblical passage. So this idea syncs up with every other idea listed here. Basically, it says the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It means that those that have success, those that believe in abundance and are grateful for what they have, will receive more. But those who reject growth, who reject gratitude, who don't see their life as great and don't see the world as great or try to create a better one, will receive a worse one. You have to be optimistic and grateful for what you have. Again, we'll unpack these ideas more in the course, but I just want to touch on these more subtle levels as we move up from that physical reality. And there are two more in this category, but I'm going to save those for another time. And here I want to let you in on a big secret, a culmination of something that I've been holding for a long time, and I wasn't sure if this was the right time to reveal it, but I'm definitely going to. I'm going to touch on it. I'm going to tease it. I'm going to give you a primer of my big philosophy of the way that life works. Now, imagine life is like a vast cosmic garden. You can see every skill you gain, every lesson you learn is like adding more rich soil to this garden. So, the soil represents your potential and the foundation you build through your effort, through your curiosity, through your growth. But of course, the soil isn't enough. You're going to add seeds and plant things in this rich environment. So, dedicating yourself to meaningful work, developing your abilities, expressing your unique self is like planting the seeds and tending them with care. Over time, these seeds yield fruit in the form of relationships, confidence, joy, fulfillment. Those are all fruits of your labor. The more you expand the soil, the more you expand that space upward and outward, creating a more lush garden to flourish. That is your life. And just like any garden, there are seasons of growth, challenges like weeds and storms. But these plants that grow, those are the curves. Those are what I call the curves with two U's, because those are your curves. Life grows from our needs to our highest good. We're taking these challenges and ideas that we have. We're building our life and growing our life by adding more soil, adding more plants, growing the things that we want to grow in our lives. And we're being pulled up and lifted up and seen the bigger picture by values. Values are like our dreams, our hopes, our highest good, and our highest aspirations. What you love, the truth, beauty, if you use values and grow them, you can bring yourself through the actions, the feelings, and into the wholeness of life. So, values are what help you create more wholeness, and they're valuable tools of self-creation. You have to know your values and use them to create a great life. The sun, the moon, the stars, those are all built, manifested, and attracted with values. Imagine that those are the things that pull your life up, that resonate you. You're lifted up by them, you're nourished by them. And now you're getting to see that I've divided this path into these different sections. So we all start in this similar way where we rely on health. It's kind of the first value that's presented to us and there. And then, of course, we have our physicality, our physical health, our physical being, our physical body that is required as a foundation, and our emotional health. And that is also a requirement. Then we have our resources. That includes money and people and things that we have around us in order to live a great, incredible life. Then we have intimacy. We know that love is one of the core needs. And so here we have the needs at the bottom. And we extended to the personal, desires and strengths like skills. How resourceful are you? And then relationships, your relationships you have with other people, with the earth, even with yourself. And then growth, your personal ability to grow and change and become. On the other side, you have connection with the community. You can maybe see here that on the right is community and sort of outside of yourself. And on the left, you have the personal side. On the bottom, you have health and needs. And on the top, you have more like spirituality and peace. So we have your personal development, your personal level of motivation, your contribution to society. Now you're getting into this place where you're building this wholeness. We all grow from babies to become more in this category. Not that we can't practice joy or gratitude, contribution or motivation when we're children, but it is harder to. We tend to spread out in these areas and learn how to get to that ultimate fulfillment. This is a path of life that you can see this wheel in many different ways. In one way, like I revealed it to you, where it's building up and out from health outward. And in another sense, this is showing you that life has all these different areas. And of course, you could divide it up in different ways or put different sections or different names on it. But this is to get that sense that there's a certain wholeness to life that we're all reaching for, that we're all looking for. And you can look, I use this chart often to help me see, where am I missing? Where am I not showing up? Where am I not putting my attention into? And where I want to put my attention into, where do I want to add more soil, add more plants, and add more of this beautiful space and take up a more beautiful space in the world. So we'll keep going here. What do you want to plant next? What do you want to nurture into existence? If you align with your highest calling, amazing things will happen. Think about it. Your values, the things that you really care about, they pull you up with those higher spiritual ideas. So that chart And that little visual I've been working on just for a couple days, but I'm really excited that I was able to get that out, and hopefully you can get a sense. I hope you can get somewhat of a visualization and a sense of what that feels like and what that looks like inside you. This concept helps me so much to really understand what I'm doing in the world, how I want to grow, how I want to move outward and affect change. And that's only about half of the model that I showed you right there. We'll get to the other half in future episodes. So let's go back to our goals and talk about those. Let's take a few minutes to sink in what worked in the past year. Actually, we're going to go on a little journey here again. So tell me, I think that's right there. What worked, what helped, what showed up well in this past year? What are you excited about? What has traction, momentum, energy? What have you noticed that works and what didn't work? Go back to imagining your lifelong dreams. So your daily action is to plant a small, consistent seed. Commit to simple daily habits that align with your goals and your values. Spend 10 minutes a day journaling, gratitude reflection, practicing a skill for 15 minutes. Diligently, with growth in mind. Set a daily intention in the morning to stay focused on your priorities. Small, consistent actions compounded over time build momentum and create a noticeable progress. Now, a yearly vision. Define your big goal. Get a long-term goal for the year that aligns with your highest values and aspirations. So maybe you want to build a healthier body so you can run a half marathon by March. Maybe you want to strengthen connections and reconnect with meaningful relationships. Maybe you want to focus on one relationship per month to nurture and bring back to a healthy state. Maybe you want to start a project, launch a side hustle, or complete a creative work. We're going to discuss that in the course, break it down into milestones, track your progress, and help you continue on with the awesomeness that you are and that you want to bring into the world, to have consistent, regular progress. And I want to say right here, consistency and regularity is not exactly like discipline. Of course it is, and they go together, but we're not machines. We're not going to be programmed to do the same thing. And that's good. We're humans. We're dynamic. That's awesome, because we're not going to do the same thing every day at exactly the same time, and especially not expecting different results. You can do the same thing every day at the same time and expect different results if you change it slightly, if you adapt slightly, if you're doing something that is building up to competency. So choose one area to focus on. Choose one area to focus on. And I'm going to go back to my full video here, because I've been told that there's an echo going on that last one. So think back to that wheel of life and choose one area from that to focus on. Like maybe you can go to my website, thecuurve.com, and download a copy of this printout. And you're going to want to find an area that seems kind of lacking. Maybe it's health, maybe it's growth, maybe it's fulfillment. Things that you want to focus on improving and moving on. So you want to deepen your relationships by scheduling regular time with loved ones. Maybe health-wise, you want to develop a fitness routine or improve mental well-being through mindfulness. In growth, maybe you want to learn a new skill, take a course, or work on financial stability. In fulfillment, maybe you want to cultivate creativity, express gratitude, or explore spirituality. Commit to nurturing this area intentionally over the next few months. maybe over the next year, because choosing one area prevents overwhelm and ensures that concentrated effort, because you can really only look in one area at once. If you think about that chart, pretend you're in the center and you can look out in any area. Your view is only so big, and you're going to be focusing on a certain slice of the pie. Take your focus and focus in on that part and see what shows up. You've got the seeds of your future. Now nurture them daily. Plant them in the right spot. Aim boldly for the horizon. And tend to the area of life that calls you most. Focus on it. Nurture that part. Remember, life is a garden, and every action, no matter how small, is a step toward the extraordinary. You are the gardener. You're the builder. You're the creator of your own greatness. I know you can achieve a lot. I know you can go deep and make big change in the world. I believe in you. So we're going to cover a lot more in our course, and I know today was a little choppy because this is my first time going live all on my own with a new software that I've never used before. But hopefully you got something out of this and you could see, you could read between the blank screens and find something valuable here. I know that progress is hard. I know that it seems like everybody on the internet has some easier way to do it, has some tricks and some tips, like there'd be something out there that just helps unlock everything for you. But I've found that over time, you might hear a concept that helps, but if you keep that and put it into your mind, make it do its own evolution inside of you. Allow these concepts that work to work themselves within you and do the work consistently in a focused way on the things that you love. Imagine that chart that we saw earlier, that visual, being pulled up, being nurtured by the sun and the rain. Those are your values, the things you love. Those are your goals. Your goals are like a North Star, like a blazing sun that pull you up towards it. The things you value, the things you love, if you hold them up, they will be, things that change your mind, that bring your reality and that reality into each other. And when you reach up to hallelujah, you'll notice that your arms are in the shape of a curve. And that's something that I practice every day as well. I wish you luck on your journey. Much love.